Welcome to Curious Minds Unmasked podcast, where we uncover the hidden wonders of the world.
All right, everybody, buckle up, because we are diving into a topic that has fascinated, well, pretty much everyone, forever, what happens after we die.
The great beyond.
Exactly. And we're exploring this with excerpts you guys sent in from Más allá de la muerte, el Libro de los Muertos.pdf, a book that tackles huge questions. What I love is it's written in this straightforward Q&A style, no beating around the bush.
Gets right to it. I like that.
Totally. Like, first question, what did the dead eat? I mean, never even crossed my mind. But this book claims they consume the, get this, the etheric essence of food left on their graves.
Interesting.
Right. It reminds me of, Day of the Dead traditions, those connections to the spiritual realm.
Yeah, that etheric part is key here. Think of it as like a finer energy. Lots of cultures believe what we do in the physical world has this, like, ripple effect on other planes. It's not really about the food itself, but the emotions, the memories tied to it, that's what transcends.
So less about a physical meal, more about the energy behind it.
Exactly.
Gotcha. But the book, it gets even wilder. It says when people first die, they don't even realize it. They just keep reliving their lives, totally clueless.
Like they're in a loop. It's a fascinating idea. Their consciousness is sort of dormant, still tied to those old desires and routines. And even the way they see us, the living.
Yeah, how's that work?
Well, they see it through their own past. Your clothes, your car, your phone even. But they're interpreting it all through the lens of their own time period.
Wow. That's kind of creepy, but also makes sense in a way. So do they ever snap out of it? And what about, like, who's in charge over there? Do we get what we hoped for after death? This is where the book really gets my brain going, stuck in their own world.
That's a trip, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of which, past lives, that's where this book takes a turn.
Reincarnation.
Yeah. It's like he uses the afterlife as this setup to talk about, like, the whole cycle of existence,
Yeah.
Kind of like the sun setting and rising again.
Exactly. Death is not the end, but a transition, a chance for growth, for the soul to evolve. We come back multiple times.
The book actually puts a number on it, 108 lifetimes to achieve perfection.
108, that's specific.
I know, right? Makes you wonder. But okay, if we keep getting reborn, why don't we remember any of it? You'd think we'd have some flashbacks or something. That's where it gets really cool. The book says those memories, they're not gone. More like buried deep inside us, waiting to be unlocked.
Okay.
Think about déjà vu. That feeling you've been somewhere before, even though you know you haven't. What if? Those are glimpses of past lives.
Whoa. So it's like our past selves are still part of us, even if we don't realize it.
Exactly. And those instant connections you feel with some people, like you've known them forever.
Yeah, I've totally felt that.
The book suggests maybe you have in a past life.
Makes you think about relationships differently, for sure. But what about those who don't reach, perfection after those 108 tries?
Right. The book calls them lost. Their souls unable to break free from the cycle. It's a bit heavier, but it highlights this idea of consequences for our actions, not just in this life, but all of them. Exactly. Like a cosmic balance sheet. What we do in past lives affects our present and what we do now. Well, you see where it goes.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, but it makes you think about choices differently, doesn't it? And to illustrate all this, the book gets into some pretty wild real-life stories. You love a good anecdote, so I think you'll find this next one fascinating. Like, check this out. There's this whole story about a maid, and this one I think you'll especially dig given your interest in, like, the mind and all that. She's accidentally causing all these poltergeist things to happen in her employer's house. Turns out it's linked to some past life trauma she's carrying with her.
Oh, wow. It really shows how these past experiences can bleed into the present, right? Her emotions, those deep traumas, so strong they're causing actual physical disturbances. It makes you wonder, what else are we carrying around from those past lives?
Right. It's like our past selves are still hanging around influencing things, and it's not all sunshine and roses either. There's another story, the author himself, he says he got hit with this weird illness, and he's convinced it's because of black magic used against him in a past life.
Whoa! Talk about karma coming back to bite you. That's intense.
No kidding. But then this whole topic is about expanding how we see things, and it gets even wilder because the book dives into desdoblamiento, basically, astral projection. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just talk about it. It gives you a technique to actually do it.
Okay, now we're talking. So it's distinguishing between those accidental astral projections, like when you're sleeping, and consciously doing it, right? Intentionally leaving your body and exploring other realms.
Exactly. And the author's not just talking theory, he describes visiting a friend in Paris, even a mystical temple, all while his body's back home asleep. It's like unlocking this hidden ability we all have.
So cool. What's the secret sauce? How do you actually do it, according to the book?
It's actually simpler than you'd think. It says the key is to focus on action, not thought. Don't get bogged down in the how, just engage with the desire to explore.
Less thinking, more doing. I can get behind that. But how do you remember any of it when you come back to your body? It seems like it just fade away.
Good point. The book says the more you practice, the stronger that link between your physical and astral bodies becomes, so the memories are clearer.
Ah, so like training your consciousness to handle these bigger experiences. Fascinating stuff.
Mind-blowing, really. This deep dive into Más allá de la muerte, el Libro de los Muertos PDF, it's been a wild ride. We've covered life after death, reincarnation, karma, even how to potentially astral project.
It really makes you question everything you thought you knew. You
Yeah.
know? Like if death isn't the end, if our choices echo through lifetimes, what does that mean for how we live this life?
It's a question worth sitting with, for sure. And hey, maybe this deep dive has given you some clues to explore further. Thanks for coming on this journey with us, and until next time, keep those minds open and those questions coming.